Hello everyone, my name is Ariana Denisa, and I'm very pleased to share with you our work entitled Fiscal Fragility Under Climate Pressure: Can Strong Institutions Protect Economies?, which was co-authored with Oana Ramona LOBONT, Cristina CRISTE, Florin, and Florin COSTEA. To give you a clear overview, the presentation will follow a simple structure. First, I will outline the research objectives. Then I will move to the literature review, followed by the data and methodologies. After that, I will present the main results that emerge from the analysis. And finally, I will highlight the implications and possible future directions. Our research objectives are based firstly on understanding how climate pressures generate fiscal vulnerabilities. Second, we aim to analyze how institutional capacity can transform these risks into opportunities for resilience and innovation. The third objective aims to identify the main trends and networks of collaboration at a global level. And finally, we evaluate the degree of interdisciplinarity of the research and highlight where better integration between fields is needed. The literature highlights a strong focus on the ecological implications of climate change, while fiscal aspects remain underexplored. Governance and institutional capacity are often cited as critical for adaptation, but research in this area is fragmented. To frame this gap, we also considered the axis of historical development of climate risk. Historically, the link between climate and fiscal stability has evolved from local impacts in the pre-industrial era to systemic risks today. The Industrial Revolution marked the first clear connection, as disasters generated significant fiscal costs. In the 20th century, institutions like the UN and IMF and shocks such as the oil crisis reinforced the idea that resources and climate shape economic security. Since the 90s, climate change has been on the global agenda, with agreements like Kyoto and Paris highlighting financial commitments. Today, climate risks are permanent fiscal factors, and outcomes depend largely on institutional capacity. We collected the data from the Web of Science core collection covering the period 2007 to 2025. The query combined fiscal sustainability, climate risks, and governance capacity, restricted to the climate change adaptation topic. This resulted in 2046 articles. We then applied three main methods. The first method was the performance analysis, using the Web of Science functionalities to track publications, citations, and thematic areas. The second method was the science mapping, where we used VOS Viewer software to visualize keyword networks, co-authorships, bibliographic couplings, and co-citations networks. And the third method, we measured research area diversity with the Shannon Index. This mixed approach allowed us to capture both quantitative trends and structural patterns in the field. The performance analysis was conducted based on data extracted from Web of Science, using the platform's functionalities to highlight the volume and scientific influence associated with the analyzed topic. The results show a notable expansion of publications during 2007 to 2025, with a clear upward trend, where the year 2022 marks the peak of productivity. Publication growth is also mirrored by citations. From just 8 citations in 2007, the field reached over 8,300 citations by 2024. This suggests that the accumulated literature has not only grown in size, but also gained academic visibility and interdisciplinary recognition. Overall, the performance analysis confirms that the intersection of fiscal sustainability and climate risk is an emerging but rapidly maturing field. The first bibliometric map is based on keywords filtered with a minimum of 25 co-occurrences, resulting in 4 clusters. For example, the green cluster refers to the institutional and political dimension with terms like governance, climate change, participation, and policy. The red cluster focuses on resilience, sustainability, management, and systems. The blue cluster is centered on vulnerability, frameworks, and disaster risk reduction, reflecting risk assessment approaches. Finally, the yellow cluster includes adaptive capacity, adaptation, and impact, showing the focus on adaptation processes and institutional responses. Together, these clusters confirm the centrality of governance, resilience, vulnerability, and adaptation in this research field. The second map shows that co-authorship on countries' networks are concentrated around a few major hubs: the United States, Europe, and the bridge between United Kingdom and Africa. This suggests that countries with strong institutions are becoming centers of gravity for scientific collaborations. Basically, we see how high institutional capacity not only attracts collaborators, but also structures the main directions of research globally. The third map, based on co-authorship by individual researchers, highlights 43 authors with strong international collaborations. Distinct clusters emerge. Some focus on governance and institutional aspects, others on resilience and adaptation, and another on vulnerabilities and disaster risk reduction. Bridge authors connect these groups, facilitating thematic integration. This confirms that the field is consolidating through collaborative networks, which support its maturation as an interdisciplinary research space. Bibliographic coupling network highlights that countries with strong institutions, like countries from the US and Europe, are leading the research agenda, imposing theoretical and methodological benchmarks. China is rising strongly as a new emerging center, while the countries of the global south remain rather peripheral. However, through strategic collaborations with established centers, they managed to bring direct experiences of vulnerability and adaptation to the debate. The analysis of the cited sources shows some main course: climate policies, environmental changes, sustainability, economics, risks, and disasters. Basically, the field is being built interdisciplinary but still fragmented. The research area diversity method, carried out using the Shannon Index, helps us to understand the degree of interdisciplinarity and thematic complexity of the literature. The results show that the literature is concentrated around a few dominant themes, and the Shannon Index confirms a relatively low thematic diversity. However, the Others category indicates the existence of emerging subthemes, suggesting potential for future interdisciplinary research. Interim findings show that fiscal fragility has both an economic and an institutional dimension. Countries with strong governance manage climate risks better, and research is dominated by states with high capacity. However, interdisciplinarity is still limited, leaving room for broader integration. To conclude, the field is expanding rapidly, and institutional capacity is proving to be the decisive factor in reducing fiscal risks. For the future, we recommend research that empirically validates the concept of the debt climate trap, develops predictive models between the severity of climate phenomena and budgetary pressure, as well as comparisons between states with strong and fragile institutions. Also, a stronger interdisciplinary integration is absolutely necessary. The acknowledgements, and thank you for your attention.